Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, which male celebrity has the perfect nipples?
Also, the worst places to be stuck waiting in line and more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot, Radio U.
This question, JR was asking this. He asked Lex last night here on Radio U. Isaiah, if you secretly won the lottery, what is the one thing you would do or buy that would give it away? How would we be able to tell?
That's a good question. Probably a house.
You'd get a house.
Yeah.
That's not very fun. That's not a very fun answer.
That seems like that would be an unrealistic thing for me to be able to buy.
Yeah. So you just buy one.
I would buy a house, yeah.
And you tell us about it.
I would tell you guys that I bought a house, or I might try to hide that I bought a house, but I think people would probably figure out.
If you wanted it to be secret, I think you could keep the house a secret.
I mean, I could keep a house a secret easily from you guys. You guys have no idea what I do when I leave work.
Right.
From my friends and family, everyone would know that I moved.
Yeah, I guess they would. I guess that'd be obvious. And you'd be throwing these parties and stuff like that. Your hot tub would double in size. I kind of meant like just how would I know? But that's...
How would you know? I would quit my job. So that's how you would know.
You're not very good at the secret part of this thing. You're trying to keep it a secret.
See, I don't know.
You don't want everybody to know.
I don't know that I'd even try.
Because if you quit your job and then I find out you buy a house, then I'm going to start chasing you, asking you for money that you owe me.
See, I think people are going to find out no matter what.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think, like everyone says, if you win the lottery, you should keep it a secret.
Yeah.
People are too nosy for that. They all figure it out in the end. There's no chance you're keeping it a secret unless you move far away from anyone that knows you. If you don't move, if you think that you're going to stay in the town that you live right now, where lots of people know you, and you're going to live like a real low-key rich life, that won't work.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you win the lottery and then you have to live so meagerly that nobody can even tell, then what's the point of winning?
Precisely.
Besides just the blessed assurance that you'd have that so many things could go wrong and you'd still be able to pay your way out of it. For me, I was just going to like actually answer the question. If I was trying to keep it a secret, I think the answer is that I think that you would start noticing me eating more food from restaurants.
You think that's how I would figure out that you're rich?
I think you'd be like, because now what do? You ever see me eating lunch out?
Not usually.
Not usually. Rarely ever. And you know I love eating lunch out.
I do.
So if you start seeing me coming back, and not even just like cheap either, not like McDonald's, even though McDonald's now isn't even that cheap. But if you start seeing me rolling in here and I've got Arby's for lunch multiple times, possibly a week.
That's how I'm going to tell.
That's how you know you're going to be.
That's how I'm going to tell.
Hudson is coming to money. You'll say to yourself,
he's going out for lunch.
He's getting Arby's.
Wow.
That would be my giveaway. I think I could do a lot of other things secretly, but I don't think I could resist that if I just knew I always had money.
See, and I think that another thing, too, is how much attention I pay to you is so little.
Yeah.
In the break room that whenever you have something, I guess if you're buying things at full price, it would be like an eye to you, like, does he have more money than he used to? Did they give him a raise?
That's right. Because normally if you come in to lunch, if I'm eating lunch and I had Arby's, I know what you'd do. You'd be like, oh, there must be a coupon at Arby's.
What's the deal?
Yeah. It's 2 for $6 or something, isn't it? And
there's always the sticker on your food that says reduced $5 because it expires today.
When they give away those free croissant sandwiches at Burger King.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come in and I've got Arby's and I paid $12 for the combo, that's how you know.
That's how I know that.
That's how you know I've struck it big. I've somehow come into some money. That's my answer.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for that. And then I'll start asking you, could you possibly buy me lunch? And then if you buy me lunch, then I know that you've won the lottery.
No, I still wouldn't do that.
Add a little Riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Isaiah, we're both men. So I don't think I'm talking out of school when I ask you, how would you describe your nipples?
I would say tan.
Tan. What shape do you have in mind?
Maybe an oval.
An oval?
Maybe an oval.
If you had to compare it to something.
A football?
You have football nipples?
I think so.
Mine, I would say maybe like, just so it's fair, so we're both describing our nipples.
Yes.
Maybe like pan-seared scallops with some lemon garlic butter. Might be what I have in mind. Now, close your eyes.
Dude, scallops.
Close your eyes and picture having the perfect nipple. What does it look like?
I'm not going to lie to you, Hud.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be straight up with you.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about my nipples.
You like how your nipples look, huh?
I have accepted my nipples, and I don't think I need to change them.
There's nothing I could do to make you change your nipples.
I've accepted mine.
Because whatever, I mean, if you have football nipples, I'm sorry to tell you that those are not the ideal nipple. The real nipple that is the trend right now for men is the almond nipple.
The almond?
Yes.
How's that the trend? I haven't heard of this.
The trend.
My friends haven't been talking about it, oddly enough.
The trend is having almond nipples. It is a very trendy plastic surgery right now.
No, it is not.
It is.
Plastic surgery.
Yeah.
That isn't possible.
What do you mean it's not possible?
It's not even possible.
It is possible. I can tell you exactly how it's done.
Almond?
I could probably perform it for you
You
right now
couldn't
based on
perform
what I'm
anything.
reading. Dr. Mark Everett, he's a plastic surgeon in New York City. He says that I don't know if it's called a nippoplasty or what, but he says that the nipple plastic surgery is one of his most popular surgeries right now, and it's trending upward. And the inspiration, oddly enough, for these perfect nipples that people want is David Beckham.
David Beckham?
Yeah. Because he routinely, I guess, is seen with his shirt off, of course, and his nipples are almond-shaped, very symmetrical, not too big, not too small. And so that is the nipple that many men are going for and paying about $5,000 to get it. And while it is a pricey surgery, you could have this surgery and go back to work the very same day and just
Band-Aid it up?
Yeah. So
See, now I'll tell you, I'll be straight up with you. Now I've had to Google, you've made me Google search David Beckham nipples,
yeah.
which is now.
No, I shared the story with you.
This is nipple. Yeah, but that doesn't, there's like one photo there. I need to go to Google and see if this is an actual trending thing.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, it is, unfortunately. And I'll be honest, they're a little small.
They're a little too tiny for your taste.
A little too tiny for me.
Yeah. I'll tell you, you might think men are getting this nipple reduction surgery. That's what they call it.
And yet again, if you're a guy doing this,
Yeah.
I'm immediately judging you.
Well,
Immediately judging you.
You might be thinking that men are doing this so they look good with their shirts off, but that's not exactly the case. According to Dr. Mark Everett, the plastic surgeon performing many of these surgeries, he says guys want to look good with their shirts on. See, if they're wearing a tight-fitting shirt, he says if you're wearing something tight-fitting, you don't want the focus to be your nipples. And so that is why he explains that many men are coming in and getting this $5,000 nipple reduction surgery.
Yeah, I would say to that doctor, you're scamming these men with comments like that. If any of my friends get this surgery done, it'll be immediately making fun of him. I'm not afraid to say it.
You think you'll notice?
That's a good question. No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't notice.
And they're not going to be bragging about it.
No, it's not like we're going to go to the pool this summer and I'm going to be like,
yeah,
that looks different. Because I couldn't tell you.
And they're not going to be like, remember how I used to have oddly large nipples?
Be like,
the pan-seared scallop nipples? No longer. They're not going to say that. So they're just going to be subtly looking slightly better for $5,000.
Nobody does it better. The Riot Radio U.
This is a big announcement in the world of movies recently that coming in 2027, not one, not two, not three, but 4 movies will be released all about the Beatles. There's going to be 4 separate biopics, some call them biopics, about each of the members of the Beatles. These are not documentaries. These are going to be like movies that tell the story of the Beatles from each of the band members' perspectives. They're all going to be directed by Sam Mendes, who's a pretty big name. You might remember him from directing the James Bond films Spectre and Skyfall. Also, the Academy Award nominated 1917. Isaiah, you think this is actually going to work out?
4 movies?
Yeah, in the same year.
All from a different perspective, telling a slightly different story of the same thing.
A different perspective from John, Paul, George, and Ringo. The stories will all be, of course, interconnected, but they'll all be unique because they're all told through a different person's eyes.
I think it'll work.
You think so?
The reason I think it'll work is because some people are so Beatles crazy that they're going to watch it no matter what.
Aren't you concerned to be like Beatles overload, though? That's a lot of movies to go see.
But doesn't it feel? It feels like the Beatles have been malnourished for a while. I feel like we haven't had Beatles stuff for a minute.
Yeah, the malnourished Beatles.
Our Beatles super fans.
Yeah.
What have they given you recently? Not a lot.
I don't know. My dad.
They're fevering for it.
He's not I wouldn't say he's a super fan, but a big fan of the Beatles. He tells me repeatedly about this movie where the guy, it came out a few years ago, where the guy, like the world changes and he's the only one who remembers the Beatles songs and everybody thinks he wrote them. You heard of that movie?
I've heard of that one.
My dad's told me about that several times.
Several times. You want to know why? Because he has nothing other than that.
That's right. That's all his
all
Beatles content. Yeah.
He's malnourished.
There's that. And then there's the documentary where they're on the roof or whatever, which I've never watched. I think that's very long. Yeah, I guess you could be right. You could be right. And the Beatles fans, you got to release these before, we are getting to the point. Paul McCartney, Ringo's still alive too, but they're getting pretty old. They need to be alive to see this, to see these movies about their lives.
That way they can either dispute them or they can be backing them.
Right. I believe that this is signed off, like the Beatles members signed off on this, their families, their states, whatever. Also, I'm not clear. They're going to theaters, but this is also Apple, so I think it's going to Apple TV Plus at some point as well. So that makes it a little less of an undertaking for you to watch them all. Because going to the movies for most people, do they go to the movies 4 times in 1 year? Probably not.
For the Beatles,
for the majority, for the Beatles, you will. All right, now question: who do you think should play each member of the Beatles?
Oh,
because I have the perfect answer.
Do you? I have a pretty good one too.
Okay,
I've got
go for it.
Adam Sandler, Kevin James, David Spade, and Chris Rock. Bring them all back.
Great. That's great. I was going to say Jason Schwartzman as Ringo, Justin Long as George, Jack Black as Paul McCartney, and most important of all, Paul Rudd as John Legend.
A walk hard reunion.
John Lennon. Yeah, that is the way to go. I would watch those movies.
What about this? Jack Black plays all 4.
Yes, do it. Now you're talking.
Either him or Adam Sandler just plays everybody.
All of a sudden, they just became watchable.
The stories you love with the opinions you hate. The Riot Radio U.
It's my turn to pick first, and today's topic is the worst places to be stuck waiting. And I'll tell you, when we first came up with this idea, I was a little nervous. I had a couple of vague ideas in mind, but now after thinking about it strongly here for a few minutes, I'm feeling real good. And so I'm going to kick things off with the worst place to be stuck waiting: anywhere with your girlfriend's dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anywhere with your girlfriend's dad.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
Strong start.
Yeah, real awkward. Real awkward.
Love that one for you.
Thank you.
I'll follow that up. The bathroom line when you really have to pee.
You kind of stole one of mine there.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Don't even need to say more.
I was going to say stoplight when you have to pee.
That's a good one, too. And then my next pick, a concert line. You're outside of the venue, and you hear the headliner coming on.
Ooh. That's pretty brutal.
They're doing that big entrance, whatever their big song is. They're revving it up. The crowd's getting crazy. And you're on the outside. You see the lights popping off inside. You're looking from over people's shoulders, trying to be able to see from outside the venue. And you're just mad at your wife. You're like, why are we running behind?
all your fault. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, I was going to go at a stoplight when you have to pee, but I think that's too close to your bathroom line one. So instead, I will move on to my next pick, which was in the Taco Bell drive-thru after midnight.
That's a long line.
Yeah, and the Taco Bell drive-thrus, I don't know why they construct them like this, but they all have that barrier so that you can't leave.
You can't escape.
Every other drive-thru lets you leave. I was going to also say Steak and Shake because they're also notorious. They're open 24/7, but you at least can leave their drive-thru line if you feel like you've waited too long. Taco Bell, nope, you're stuck there until they decide to one day move things along. The one employee inside decides to stop smoking whatever they're smoking and make some food. That sucks. And then I have to move on to my next pick, which I guess, this is tough. I'm going to say, not that I've experienced this, but I know this is bad, for an Uber after you've had too much to drink and like you've ruined the night out for everybody.
Ew.
Yeah, you're throwing up and it's like, we're going to have to get you a ride home.
Oh, no.
You got the spins. Sounds
like a horrible end
That
of
probably
your
should have
night.
been higher on the list, actually.
My final one?
Yeah.
I'm going to go on the runway.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
sitting on a plane. The worst. It's not so bad. I had this happen to me recently. It's not so bad when you've landed and you're waiting because you know that you're so close. Like, you know that once, like, they're like, we're waiting for a gate to open up, and then, like, you get off. But when you're waiting to just take off, like, you get on the plane, you know you have 3 hours of flight ahead of you. You're already feeling, like, the terribleness that it feels to be on a plane. And then you're stuck on the runway. It's been 15 minutes. You haven't even taken off yet.
Yeah.
You're running way behind.
The pilot keeps lying to you.
He's like, we're going to be taking off here in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's been 20 minutes, and you're like, our flight landing time is completely different now. Hate that one. On the runway.
All right. So in the worst places to be stuck waiting draft, I have anywhere with your girlfriend's dad, in the Taco Bell drive-thru late at night, and for an Uber after you've had too much to drink and you've ruined the night out for everybody. Isaiah, you have
the bathroom line when you really have to pee, a concert line when you hear the headliner coming out and you're not inside, and then on the runway.
8772 Radio U, who came up with a, I guess, worse team. And which picks did we miss? I've got a few honorable mentions that we have to bring up too coming up.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
A concert line outside the venue, and you hear the headliner coming out. And my last one was on the runway.
People chiming in. Actually, Justin, before you even, I saw the text. It came in before you even said on the runway.
Beautiful.
Justin also said, when you're waiting in a plane on the runway and you haven't made it to the other airport where you have a connecting flight with a short layover window.
You're in danger.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Also, Philip with an honorable mention here. Elevator. I've never been stuck in an elevator, but I can imagine that not a lot of fun. Susanna says she's voting for you for the bathroom line, but she did point out it's worse if you have diarrhea. Thank you, Susanna.
That is worse.
She also said you missed the stoplight when you're running late.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, when it's something important.
Because then it feels like it's forever.
Yeah, it takes even longer. Regina says, I don't think I've ever been in a Taco Bell drive-thru that you can't escape from. What kind of craziness do you have going on up there? And she also says she's voting for you. She can't relate to mine. And she hates being trapped when you got to pee. The Taco Bell drive-thrus, many of them, and I've seen many, and I've experienced this several times, they have like a little concrete barrier, like the height of a sidewalk, on the outside edge of the drive-thru that seems specifically designed just to keep you there when you try to get food overnight and the line's not moving. Because what other purpose could that possibly serve? And Taco Bell's not the only restaurant with that, but it's the only one that's open late that has it, where you can't escape. But I guess your Taco Bells just don't have that. Amanda says, concert line and the show's already started, so she's voting for you. She says she's lived that one at Warped Tour too many times.
More than once, and it sounds like that's got to be your own fault.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Sarah says waiting in traffic on the highway and you can't get out is the worst. Oh, what if waiting in traffic in the highway and you need gas?
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, the gas light is on. Been there a few times. That's nerve-wracking.
Sarah also said my son who is sick today says waiting in the lunch line for pizza is the worst.
Yeah.
You're starving.
Patience is a
All
virtue.
the good pieces. When you get up there, will there even be pizza?
Oh, what if you're in the line and all the pepperoni's gone?
Oh, it's just cheese.
Yeah, or just cheese. Cheese is gone too, and it's only sausage.
Oh, no.
Do you have any honorable mentions?
Other ones that I considered, one of them was, of course, just in traffic and you're running behind. Another one, the DMV. You walk into the DMV.
Ooh, yeah.
And you're trying to get your license renewed, whatever it is, and you walk in there and there's a horribly long line.
Yeah.
And you sit down. That's going to be one of the most depressing places I've ever been.
I just appreciate that you called it the DMV. So many Ohioans call it the BMV.
I know it has a couple different names.
Throws me off. I have a couple from growing up, a couple waiting for your mom to pick you up. This one, very specific. Maybe nobody else has experienced this. Waiting for your mom to pick you up after the sleepover goes wrong.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I didn't pee the bed or anything like that, but I did in my very first sleepover need to get picked up. That was no good.
And then you're, waiting awkwardly for 30 minutes before your mom gets there?
Yet again, a friend of mine's dad. The dads being involved always makes me uncomfortable. Also, waiting for your mom to pick you up. This is very similar, actually. After your Little League game gets rained out, and you're sitting there and the coach can't leave until you get picked up. But mom had to go run and do some other errand, so she dropped you off at the game. She'll pick you up after. Then the game gets rained out. That's uncomfortable.
I also remember a day when I got in trouble at school. I had to call home to my mom and dad, and it was a horrible day waiting for them to pick me up from school because I knew what I had coming for me at home. It was not fun.
Yeah, that's no good.
The anxiety I lived there. It's like a third grader.
Yeah. Phil says the ER. I guess so. Yeah,
True.
I guess that kind of does jump near the top of the list. I also thought this one's nowhere near, definitely compared to the ER, nowhere near as bad. But when you're waiting for the microwave when you're hungry in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And you want to stop it from beeping so it doesn't wake anybody up or anything. That's another good one. This is a good Choice Champions draft. I like this one a lot. A lot of difficult situations to imagine yourself in. And somehow it seems that I've won.
If podcast awards were ever a thing, this show wouldn't win any. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Something here I just learned. I wish I knew this before I bought my last car. I have a guy on TikTok who says he has the perfect answer to a question that you are no doubt going to get asked if you're going to buy a car. One of the things a salesman will assuredly say is, what would you like your monthly payment to be? But according to this guy, Zach, whose expertise comes from his dad, who worked as a car salesman for about 40 plus years, Zach says what you need to do is say, I'm not concerned with the monthly payment. I'm only focused on the total out the door price. And no matter how the salesman pushes you in a direction of wanting to get your monthly budget out of you, what you need to do is stand firm and say, I'm more concerned about the out the door price, and I'll figure out how to pay for it after that.
Because he's suggesting that if you give them a number for a monthly payment, then you'll end up paying more than you have to.
Yes, they will hide. It's easier for them to hide additional charges to upcharge you basically in a monthly payment than it is for them if you just say, I have a budget of, say, $12,000 total. I want to buy this car for $12,000 total, or I want to buy a car for $12,000 total, for example. Then they can't upcharge you and actually, kind of coerce you without you even realizing into paying more than you intended to.
A horrible situation for the likes of me and you, because I know we've discussed before.
Yeah.
You, at least I don't believe you're much of a haggler.
No, I crumble under the pressure of having to
So do I.
I'm much
I
too
hate
polite.
it.
Yeah.
I am too. Some people are good at that. They'll just say no.
Yeah. What's funny is I can stand strong on a stupid opinion. You can press me on that all day, and I will find a way to defend it. But you start asking me to, to haggle with you to, in my best interest, get myself to pay less money, and I can't do it.
For me, it's not even. It sometimes isn't even haggling. It's like a subscription service. I'm like talking to somebody on the phone or in person. They're like, well, it would make sense for you to actually go to level 2. And I'm like, really? You think I need level 2? They're like, I was planning on level 1. And they're like, no, you need level 2. And I'm like, well, if you say so, then I guess we're doing level 2. And I'm paying $30 more a month.
Yeah. I can't even do this. This is one of the easiest things to do. Anybody who's smart does this. And that is pick up the phone, call your internet company, and threaten to leave every once a year. And if you do that, they will assuredly eventually offer to lower your price or bundle out something else in at the same price you're already paying because they don't want you to leave. I can't even do that. I can't threaten, even though I know the exact tree of how it will go. I just keep saying, no, that's not good enough. No, that's not good enough until they finally give me what I want. I have all of the leverage there. And I can't even do that. So this is good advice from this guy. I wish I knew this before. His dad, he worked as a car salesman for, he says, basically his entire adult life. And they've actually posted a bunch of tips. If you Google Car Edge cheat sheet, it should come up for when you're buying a car, how to make sure you're not getting duped or, oversold, paying too much, whatever. And that's all these tips are helpful, but to actually put them into practice is the difficult thing.
Are you man enough? Face to face. Can you do it? I cannot.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's why I'm poor.
Thanks for watching the worst of the riot. Since you made it this far, you might as well subscribe, and check out riot.radiou.com for even more riot.